Welcome to the SAS Viya Release Highlight Show. I'm your host, Anna Brown, and I can't wait to tell you about tons of updates on SAS Viya release number 2021.1.6. But first, I want to let you know that SAS Viya is actually available on Red Hat OpenShift now, which means you have more choices in terms of where to host your environment, whether it be on-premise, in the cloud, or in a hybrid cloud. Listen, check out more information about this Red Hat OpenShift availability on the webinar that we just dropped in the live chat. We're going to talk about many updates on 2021.1.6 today, including a new data connector to Salesforce from SAS Access. We'll take a look at ASTORE wrappers for ONNX models in SAS Visual Data Mining and Machine Learning. And you may recall that Kumar has talked about some search type ahead suggestions in SAS Information Governance. We'll see that here today. Also, Steve Sperano will show us what's new in SAS Model Manager. We've got some integration with Microsoft Teams and some integration with Python in SAS Intelligent Decisioning. Then I get to speak with Advisory Product Manager Robbie Powell about what's new with SAS Visual Analytics. We're talking embedded insights on custom web pages and integration with Microsoft Excel. Packed show today, but before we get started, I want to encourage everyone to join in on the conversation. Give us your input. Tell us what you think about the show, about the release updates, and ask your questions. Specifically, we want to hear your questions about data visualization, general topic. Take it where you'd like. We'd love to hear your feedback on and your questions, burning questions on data visualization. Okay, the moment we've all been waiting for. I introduce the rundown.
In this month's update, I'm going to focus on improvements that we've made in terms of working with Salesforce. To move data in or out of Salesforce, you need to use the various Salesforce APIs. Each API has been designed for different usage patterns. It is also worth noting that Salesforce customers can be limited in the number of calls to an API that can be made over a period of time, for example, in 24 hours. So this potentially limits, how often they can call and how much data they can move. Many of our joint customers want to be able to move data in large volumes back and forward between Salesforce and into SAS for analysis, and moving those large result sets back for use in Salesforce operational type activities. This release, we've added the ability to use the Salesforce Bulk API. This optimizes the process of moving large volumes of data back and forwards between us. And we can see those things if we look within Salesforce as well, in terms of looking at these batches and seeing how things are happening. For example, if we drill into individual batches, we can see that things are being split up into various different records and that data being moved back and forward. This is key to our customers. With the limitations around the APIs and being able to move it back and forward, these large volumes of data, this will be a great change for our customers.
In this release, we're going to look at an exciting new feature, faceted search with the type ahead suggestions. We've all used to common search engines to find useful information with suggestive help. We wanted to bring that experience to the analytics platform with the SAS Information Governance search feature. Here we're looking at some of the previous searches with the count of the search results returned at that time, and some of the common facets that the user can use: asset name, dates, status of the dataset, and library the dataset belongs to. Let's say I wanted to search on or find a table with column semantic type email. I can search on semantic type and I can see all the values that's been suggested, and I can see there's one table containing email data, in this case that's catalog. You can also search on information privacy. Could be private data, sensitive data, if I'm a data engineer, data steward, trying to find data sets that I wanted to flag.
In the user interface, we have a few new features to highlight. First, when using the automated pipeline generation capability, you can now specify which model types you want the search process to consider. And You can select model types that you want to ensure are included in the final pipeline. So this offers a good balance between intelligent automation and human control over your machine learning pipelines. We've also enhanced the collaboration information so that now not only can you see who else is currently working in the project, but you can see more detail about what part of the project they're working on, potentially identifying the need to coordinate your efforts. And from a programming perspective, we now support using ONNX format models for YOLO v2 and v3 models within the SAS environment as analytic store or ASTORE models. Since ASTORE models are one of the most predominant model formats used throughout the SAS platform, this allows you to use these popular ONNX models very easily within various SAS applications, just as you'd use models developed in SAS.
Hello, welcome to this version for the new features for SAS Model Manager. There's a lot of exciting things specifically around Microsoft Teams integration. So when I'm looking at projects within Model Manager, I have the option to copy a link or share this information directly to Microsoft Teams, giving me the ability to collaborate with data scientists, modelers, and business users within the Model Manager application. This applies to not only projects, but models and their underlying files. So if I open up one of these projects, or in this case, select the BRM Dev HMAQ project, I have the ability to copy a link to that model project or to share this directly to Microsoft Teams. This lets me collaborate and communicate with individuals on my team about the status of the project and where things are, get questions answered, and be able to get information out to the teams more quickly. The integration is built directly into Model Manager and integrates with the team's environment. So I can select individuals on my team and then share information about the project, the model, or about the files underneath. And so I'm asking this individual, just check out some of this new information about our model project inside of Model Manager. This gives a direct link to that individual via Teams to explore inside of Model Manager that model project. I can also select the project and drill into it and see the models that make up that particular project. If I select that model now, I'm also, for that version, able to share or copy a link to this that I could use in an email. If that team member's not on Microsoft Teams, I can still share that information. This again is all about collaboration and sharing of information to be more effective as I build the models. If I drill into the model itself, I can also share information about specific items like score code or information about metadata about the model using Teams, or again, copying that link to share inside of either email or other environments if those environments don't include Microsoft Teams. This is pretty nice because now I can use this information to share across different groups. We're going to be focusing on some of these new capabilities that allow us to validate decision flows with Python models using a SAS container runtime. So we do have the ability now to publish a decision flow out to a SAS container runtime on the cloud that contain Python models. This is an important development to enable our open source developers to include those and publish those to yet another target that supports Python. But in addition to that publishing capability, we're also adding the ability to validate using testing mechanisms from Intelligent Decisioning to validate the results from those Python models. So we've had scoring tests before where I could validate the decision flow on a microanalytics service, among other targets, but this allows us now to validate not only MOZ with Python, but also SAS container runtime instances running on the cloud. So with the new capability, I've already published that decision flow with Python inside of it out to a SAS container runtime. Now I can set up a test with my own input table as test data and execute or run that test for validation purposes to understand, am I getting the expected results from that decision flow that contain Python. Once it executes, I can look at the output. I can also look at the code that was generated behind this particular model and decision flow and the log itself to further debug what's happening inside of this decision flow with Python. These capabilities are available from within SAS Intelligent Decisioning, and again, they expand upon our ability to test and validate decision flows that contain Python. To learn more, go to SAS.com and SAS Intelligent Decisioning.
Thank you for those updates, everyone. Wow. I don't know about you, but I'm in Microsoft Teams all day long. So the integration with SAS Model Manager is tremendous. Relative to SAS Information Governance, there's a great tutorial right on the SAS Users YouTube channel that you should check out. That was linked to in the chat if you want to know more on the how-to front on SAS Information Governance. We got one question about data visualization from the crowd. Thanks everyone for joining us from around the world, truly a global audience here today. The question was about technical requirements needed in visual analytics to embed reports and information onto a web page. And you're in luck because that is exactly what we'll talk about in the release talk. Today, I am joined by Advisory Product Manager Robbie Powell. Robbie, thank you for welcome back to the show, and thanks for joining us again.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me on your show, Anna. Love coming on the show to share some of the great capabilities we're delivering in visual analytics.
Well, what are you going to talk about today?
So today, I have two topics that I want to share. The first is embedded insights, which is an umbrella of capabilities provided through visual analytics to allow customers to gain insights in visual analytics by exploring their data and then embed those insights into their corporate portals, custom web pages, and custom web apps. So really great set of capabilities there. The second topic is going to be SAS for Microsoft 365. Again, the ability to take insights from visual analytics and embed them into your Microsoft 365 documents, such as Excel documents.
Wow. All right. Well, you've piqued my interest. Let's see a demo.
Yep, let's do it. So I have two capabilities I want to show you today that we're really excited about and feel sure that you're going to be excited as well. So here I am looking at a corporate portal. Every morning I come into work, I go to the corporate portal to understand how my company is doing. I can look at things like key indicators for the business. And what you're looking at here is an HTML file. So this is an HTML file corporate portal created using standard web technologies, HTML, CSS, JavaScript. And what you see here are elements that are being pulled from a visual analytics report. So these are not static images. As I click on the word cloud, you see the other items in the dashboard are updated, are filtered. I can drill down into my hierarchical data. So this is live interaction is going back to my VIA server, living in my corporate portal page. If I want to do things like explore my data from within the corporate portal without going back to VA, I can leverage all the value of visual analytics and the report that I've created, and to enable and to encourage exploration by my users as they're coming in every morning and checking out the status of the company.
Wow. Now, how often are these reports updated, Robbie? Does it just depend on your environment and how you set it up?
It really does, Anna, and that's a really good question, and that'll get me to the next part I'm going to be talking about in a minute. But this is what we're showing here is actually pointing back to live data in SAS Viya. So as frequently as you update your data in SAS Viya, it will be immediately reflected for all of your end consumers who are accessing the corporate portal. So yeah, it's a really good story there. I can embed or include within my HTML file both objects from my report and things that I create, or HTML objects that I create separate from my visual analytics report. So it can bring in a hodgepodge of mashup HTML content and JavaScript content within my web page, and all of it coexists really well. So I've shown you all this, Anna, and I imagine you're thinking, okay, that looks really cool. How do I do it?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so here I am in the SAS developer portal, which is developer.sas.com, and I'm looking specifically at the Visual Analytics SDK. The Visual Analytics SDK is what you use to bring in all of that visual analytics content, or rich content, into your HTML page. So let's get started, and I'll just quickly show you how to use the Visual Analytics SDK. So you can install the Visual Analytics SDK. It's on NPM, or Node Package Manager, which is a very familiar location where JavaScript projects are often hosted. So we publish the Visual Analytics SDK to NPM. You can download it, install it, and that way the Visual Analytics SDK can coexist in the same location as your corporate portal and the rest of your JavaScript projects and content that you deliver. Or you can take the easy way out and do what I'm doing, and I am just using the script tag, embedding the script tag in my HTML and pulling down through the Content Delivery Network, or CDN, pulling down the Visual Analytics SDK into my HTML. So that's what I'll be doing. Both are equally available. And just quickly looking at the API reference, the Visual Analytics SDK primarily consists of 3 HTML elements. SAS report is the first element, which allows you to embed an entire report within your HTML. And here is the tag. Of course, SAS report page allows you to bring in individual pages into your HTML. And SAS report object, of course, allows you to bring in individual objects and space them and lay them out however you desire within your HTML. And you have access to all of these other APIs that are part of the SDK to allow you to do things such as export to PDF, export data. You could add context menus to any objects that you add using these element tags, and some other really great capabilities. So
Great.
looking in Visual Analytics, which is where we are now, we're looking at the source report that's used to build out or to provide the content to your HTML. So how do we go from this report to the HTML elements? Well, that's really easy. Okay, all you have to do is go to an object if you want to embed an object, and bring up the menu and go to copy link. And let me save my report. You got to save your report. So now go to copy link and select that I want embedded web content. And here we have a SAS report object element generated for us. All I have to do is copy this link and paste it into my HTML. Similarly, if I wanted to bring in this entire page, I could go up here and say copy link at the page, and I get a SAS report page object. And of course, if I want to do report, the entire report, I go up to this menu for the entire report, do a copy link, do a copy link and embedded web component, and we see SAS report. Now, some of the objects you see, or the elements within the HTML tag you see are authentication type credentials. It can be either credentials or guests based upon how your server is configured and your data. The URL for your SAS Viya server, and the unique identifier for the report that you want to embed. So this is how you copy and you get those HTML elements that you can then paste within your within your web page, within your HTML, so that you see the corporate portal like we saw here. So each one of these are individual objects that have been brought into the HTML. So one of the first pieces of feedback we heard from customers as we made this available and they started using it, it's like, okay, I'm publishing to users who are accessing the corporate portal, and there's a lot of them out there. I want to make it more available, but I'm concerned about all of these end users hitting my SAS Viya server when I want to have that environment, primarily dedicated to my data scientists, my business analysts, and other corporate users. So how can we, improve efficiency and improve scale? So we did some hard thinking on this, and we provided a way to, within Visual Analytics, to take a data snapshot of the content that you want to embed in your HTML. And then you can take that data snapshot and deploy it to your web server alongside your HTML, so that every end user who's accessing your corporate portal is actually accessing data that's on the web server and not going back to SAS Viya with every data request and every query that's being made. So that provides scalability by leveraging commodity infrastructure. So let me show you a little bit how you do that. So I know it's a sort of complicated topic, but we make it really easy to do through the user interface in Visual Analytics. So all you have to do is say, I want to export a report package. Okay. And here I am in Visual Analytics, and I'm provided with a list of all of the pages and all of the visualization objects that exist within my report. So say that I want to I want to export the entire page for the key stats. For every object on the key stats page. I can specify that. Say I want to save it to SAS driver, SAS content, give it a name, and export. So what's happening now is behind the scenes, every query for this page is being executed, and the results are being serialized and saved in this zip file. So just let me quickly show you. I've extracted the zip file, and here's what's in it. Here is what's in my report package. And the data, some structure, and we also provide an index HTML. And what this index HTML does is it provides you with a really nice starting point for understanding what you've extracted. So let me just quickly go to an editor and show you that index.html. And really all you have is a SAS report page tag that's saying use the package URI for the report package I just extracted, rather than going back to SAS Visual Analytics. And here you see the index HTML that I just showed you being displayed in a web page, and it's live. You can interact with it just like you can within Visual Analytics. So really great capability to support scale of delivery of your portal content.
Absolutely.
So pretty cool stuff, huh, Anna?
Yeah, I just it's really taking a lot of load off the server, and you're doing it in a smart, sophisticated way, kind of commoditizing that technical load. That's awesome, Robbie.
Exactly. Leveraging that commodity infrastructure of the web server to take the load off of SAS Viya so you can leave it available to your data scientists, business analysts, and other corporate users. So I want to show you a few public use cases where the Visual Analytics SDK is being used right now.
Great.
So here we have The Economist, really great publication, and their Global Business Barometer. So the Global Business Barometer is a survey that's conducted of business leaders across the world to gauge their confidence level with the economy and other things. And here you see Visual Analytics SDK being used to allow you to filter your data and to learn more and to do exploration through this really nice resource. I can look at various countries, and I can look at how confident individuals feel about the economy of their country. You can see, France doesn't seem very confident. They seem to have some concerns where China seems pretty confident that things are okay. And then here we have the United States, which is somewhere in the middle. So and we can see the trend. So it's improving. So our confidence in our economy from the business leaders' perspective is improving. So this is really nice content delivered through the Visual Analytics SDK from The Economist.
Mm-hmm.
We also have a U.S. coronavirus vaccination site here that we put together here at SAS, and we're bringing in content from Visual Analytics from SAS Viya to be able to show vaccinations across the United States. You can see some really interesting things, like if we look at let's look at Connecticut. You can see that the vaccination rates are going pretty well there. We go and see how Texas is doing. Okay, so and you can see how that's updated. So you can create really nice data storytelling capabilities using Visual Analytics and bringing in out-of-the-box visualizations from Visual Analytics, such as these, as well as custom visualizations, all within an HTML page. So
That's cool.
And this is what I really wanted to show about embedded insights. And embedded insights is like an umbrella of capabilities. It's an umbrella category here at SAS where we allow users to embed content that they've created in SAS Visual Analytics, embed that content into their custom web pages, custom web apps, and of course corporate portals like I've shown. The next thing I want to show is SAS for Microsoft 365. So everybody knows where I am. Right now, I'm in Excel. With a little difference here. Here we see SAS on the menu. Yeah, so select SAS, go to Home, and we have opened up essentially SAS Drive within Excel. How cool is that, Anna?
Very cool. We're sitting right next to my Excel doc that I work with all the time. I'm sure many of us do.
Exactly. So here we have the reports and data content that we have in SAS Drive. So let me open the this report that we've already been looking at a good bit already, and say that as I'm building my Excel spreadsheet, I'm like, I want to embed some of this content. I want to embed revenue. So let's insert the revenue object into my Excel spreadsheet. And just like that, boom, I can bring it in, I can size it, and say, okay, I also want to bring in expenses, because if I'm bringing in revenue, I should probably tell both sides of the story. And now we have revenue and expenses. So as I'm looking through my data, again, this is a live report. So I'm filtering my data, I'm exploring, and I'm learning more. And maybe I reach the point, it's like, you know what? I'm showing all revenue and all expense here. What I really want to do is show revenue and expense for AquaSky. Okay, great. The SAS for Microsoft 365 remembers that these objects are loaded, and we just have to go in and say, okay, update and document. And if you'll notice, the filter context is also brought into my Excel spreadsheet so that I'm not confused and think maybe this is my entire revenue. It's like, no, this is revenue for card product AquaSky. And I can do similarly for expenses. I can say update that as well. And since I have it filtered by this context of AquaSky, it automatically updates for you. So I can continue going through my report, exploring, learning more about my data. And as I come across this table, it's like, I'm going to embed this table into my Excel document. So first thing I'm going to do is sort it. I'll sort it by state. And okay, I want to insert it in my document. So instead of bringing the object into Excel, since it's a spreadsheet or a grid of data, we're bringing that data into the cells of Excel, which makes a ton of sense, because now I can do really cool things like leverage the Excel formatting to do things like set color scales for the credit score. I can set data bars for write-off risk, and bring together visual analytics and formatting from Excel as well. So this is really great story so far. I can continue exploring, continue updating, and do whatever I want to do there. But SAS Viya, it's sure you have your report content and all the content you've created. You also have your data. So I want to bring a data table from SAS Viya directly into Excel. That's a pretty interesting use case, right, Anna?
It is indeed. We get questions about importing and exporting from SAS to Excel all the time on the SAS support communities.
Absolutely. So here we have credit SMS, which is one of the data sets we've been using in our report. I just open that in my visual analytics part of the SAS for Microsoft 365, and I'm given information about about that data set. So I can look at my columns, I can look at the general information, but just say, okay, I'm just going to go ahead and insert this table. And as I look through my data, I may see some columns that I don't want to include, don't want to publish, like maybe age and retired and student. Maybe this is too personal information. So I can easily go back and say, okay, I want to turn off age, student, and retired. And I also want to display the column names and the table name, and I can update my table as it's displayed in my Excel document. And here we see the updated table.
Wow, it's like taking the best of both worlds with Excel's sorting and display kind of grid of data capabilities with all that SAS Visual Analytics has to offer with visualizations and, of course, the data sets themselves.
That's absolutely right, Anna. And this is it covers a lot of the enterprise use cases that are already out there. We all know that Excel is being used, all across enterprise use cases. So yeah, this is SAS for Microsoft 365. We started with Excel. We're going to continue through the Microsoft 365 portfolio. We're currently working on adding support for integration with Outlook and with MS Teams. Some really interesting things going on there right now.
Wow, Robbie, love it. Both of those features just were super interesting. Thank you for walking through them. We got some great feedback in the
Mhm.
comments and the chat for those who are joining us today. Um, Back to that question at the top of the hour we got from one of the viewers on the technical requirements to be able to embed insights on a custom web page. You covered SDKs. Is there anything else you'd like to expand on there?
So from the SDK perspective, it's standard web technologies, HTML, CSS, JavaScript. So really, you need a visual analytics report and access to that report, and then using standard web technologies through the Visual Analytics SDK. That is the technical requirement. One thing that it is important is I showed through the demonstration the ability to create an export package or a data snapshot through the Visual Analytics user interface. That's also supported through the VIA command line interface or CLI and through the Visual Analytics API. And this allows for scripting of generating that data extract on a regular basis so that you could create a script to automatically continuously upload or update your essentially offline package that is being displayed through your web page and not going back to VIA. So you could script that through those CLIs and API.
Excellent. Thanks for that added detail. So as I was looking at the example you showed on The Economist and how really the reader can just choose their own adventure with the story and dig into the SAS Visual Analytics data as they see fit and find the data and the stories that they're looking for and that they didn't know of before. Certainly appealed to my my editorship hat. What was the biggest challenge the team encountered or kind of worked through in incorporating this feature into SAS Visual Analytics?
So first of all, your comment is absolutely right, and it's great to hear that because the intent of the Visual Analytics SDK was to allow you to embed content that you've discovered and insights through Visual Analytics to embed that into your web page along with other web content, and you can use these insights from Visual Analytics to support maybe topics or streams of discussion that you're trying to convey through your web page. So yeah, it's very great editorial tool. Things that were complex for us as we built the Visual Analytics SDK, the three things come to mind. The first is Visual Analytics offers so many reporting capabilities. So how did we distill down the report capabilities in Visual Analytics in order to make it something that could be embeddable into HTML pages? Because we didn't want to bring along everything, but bring along just enough to make it relevant, make it interactive, make it a good solution for embeddability. The second was determining the right developer experience. How much do we leverage APIs? How much do we look toward low code capabilities? Is striking the right balance there was also took a lot of cycles for us to figure out what we think is the best approach. And the third issue, or not issue, but challenge we faced is through using the Visual Analytics SDK in a custom web page, how to appropriately authenticate back to SAS Viya for situations where you're directly connected to your Viya instance. We didn't want to create a specialized or a custom authentication through the SDK. So what we do is we tie back to Viya authentication from the Visual Analytics SDK. So making sure all the hand checking is done correctly between the SDK and SAS Viya took us a little bit to figure out, but it's really great, secure way of providing this embeddable capability within your custom HTML pages.
Yeah, security is definitely good to keep in mind there. And for your first challenge and kind of figuring out what to pull over from SAS Visual Analytics, you could do the whole shebang, but really that would mean a lot of technical load on the environment. So, but when you were picking and choosing, were you picking and choosing what to pull over within that data snapshot specifically that you showed us in the demo?
So actually that is a very interesting topic, but what I was actually referring to was so the Visual Analytics SDK is a reporting component. So it's focused on visualization. So the visualization objects are the core of what the Visual Analytics SDK supports. Interactivity through the visualization objects. We've also added capabilities such as the API ability to export PDF from a visualization, a page, or a report from within the Visual Analytics SDK. So you can export PDFs, you can export the data that's being used by each object if you choose to do so. Other capabilities like you can set the theme. So determining the proper amount of API capabilities to allow for web developer customization is really what I'm talking about there. And on the topic of data snapshot, how much detail do we provide on the data snapshot? What options do we provide? Yeah, because that can get really complex as you begin looking at a report, because what the data snapshot is a pre-running of all the queries. So as you can imagine, some situations could become very sophisticated, very complex. So we've worked on providing appropriate messaging and warnings and assistance for the user as they're taking that data snapshot to help guarantee their success.
Great. Now, to talk about the second feature you showed us today, the integration with Microsoft 365, specifically Excel. I know that is just going to be so valuable for our viewers and our customers. One question about that combined report, so the Excel and SAS visualization reports, SAS Visual Analytics report, can you share that with a coworker, like export it easily so that you can propagate those insights across the organization?
Yes. It's the primary goal of SAS for Microsoft 365 is to allow users to do more work from within whatever application they happen to be in. We know that Excel is a dominant application for many enterprise workflows. So integrating your visual analytics insights and content into your Excel documents and taking the next step and being able to apply formatting from Excel on data and report objects from visual analytics allows you to do more without having to hop from application to application. So yeah, we are currently working on expanding those capabilities through our CI/CD pipeline or monthly delivery of SAS Viya offerings. We're continually able to add more and more capabilities to allow our end users to do more and more from within their Microsoft 365 applications.
So great segue to my next question. What can we expect? You gave us just a taste of what that might look like in the months to come, but can you expand on it for our viewers here?
I can a bit. So the capability within Visual Analytics is called SAS for Microsoft 365. So it's not SAS for Excel, it's Microsoft 365. So we are going to work our way through the Microsoft 365 portfolio of offerings to enable visual analytics content to be embedded in applications such as PowerPoint. On a side tangent, we're also working on integrating visual analytics content into Outlook. So yeah, we have some of that going on. We have work going on in those areas right now. And on a similar topic about what's coming from the SDK perspective, going back to embedded insights, we're currently working on the content SDK, which is going to be available very soon, hint, hint. And it's going to allow you within your custom corporate portal or custom web page to be able to navigate your data or navigate your content in SAS Viya. So sort of like bringing SAS Drive into your custom web page. So that's going to be coming soon. Also, the Conversation Designer SDK is going to be rolled out in the near future, and that's going to allow you to build bots, SAS bots that can access content in SAS Viya, access your report content to bring up both conversational and visual responses to questions that you ask of your data. So how crazy and how cool is that?
Very cool. Chatbots are all the rage. So glad to see SAS Visual Analytics continuing to integrate there and build on that capability. Wow, Robbie, it sounds like the team is super busy. Thank you so much for taking time to join us today and tell us a little bit about what's currently available in SAS Visual Analytics and what we can expect. I can't wait to have you on the show in a few months.
Well, thank you so much, Anna. This is really great. I love coming on your show and sharing the really cool, great stuff we're doing with Visual Analytics.
Excellent. Well, that's a wrap. Today just gave you a hint of the latest and greatest updates in SAS Viya version 2021.1.6. Certainly there's more to dig into. So check out in the description on YouTube all the resources we've provided there. There's communities, you can talk with your fellow practitioners about what's hot and what you think about it. There's links to documentation and other ways to learn more. Also, while you're at it, smash that like button. Share this show with a friend. Anyone you think might be interested in what's new with SAS Viya, we'd like for them to know and come into the fold. There will be a show next month, the end of the year. It's hard to believe in December. Be sure to subscribe to the SAS Users YouTube channel to find out when that show will take place. And until then, see you later. Bye.